We are here in Roger Williams Park at the Polo Lake site, which is one of the oldest BMPs we have here in the park, and we're talking about maintenance. So the construction of this site was tied into an existing concrete spillway, which is relatively shallow because that's how spillways are constructed. So what the Parks Department did was incorporate an outlet in a diversion structure which requires the water to enter the diversion structure and go out a lower elevation towards the BMP, but again has the same spillway going through as the overflow. So that overflow wear is at a higher elevation than the BMP wear. So in moderate and low flows, the water will make its way into the BMP. In higher flows, the water will go out over the original spillway, which is different from what we've been seeing in our overflows here. The overflow is the actual spillway itself. So we've incorporated the inlet and the overflow into the same structure. But as that water makes its way into the BMP, it enters a very long and large river rock swale. It's river rock stacked 12 to 15 inches, has fabric underneath, and the intent is for the sediment-laden water to make its way through the river rock, depositing the sediment, and the water continues on to the treatment down lower in the site. What's happened with us, the maintenance of the river rock doesn't take place until the sediment is visible. So at that point, you've created 12 to 15 inches of sediment that now needs to be removed. And the process is to remove each and every river rock, remove the sediment, and then replace the river rock back, which requires a backhoe, a dump truck, very labor intensive. So while you get the benefit of long times in between maintenance, the maintenance for us is too obtrusive to allow us to continue that way. So this is not a type of design element we will install any longer, because while you don't have to come here as much, the sediment can build up to a point where it's no longer functioning, and you're not aware of that. So as you can see here, the sediment has built up to a point where the vegetation is now growing in the river rock swale. So this is far beyond the maintenance that it should be. I should have been here much earlier. What also is a residual of that is now the water is not slowing down, now the sediment is not being removed, then the velocity comes and starts to impact the containment berm. So that water is flowing very quickly, taking a slow but deliberate turn, but with no way to slow it down, the water starts to work on eroding that containment berm. So there's several problems with this type of element, and it's mainly the reason why we're no longer using it. By utilizing the existing structure, spillway structure, as the inlet, it presents a unique maintenance problem. Most inlet structures, basins, have a large sump. So you come with a clamshell, you remove that sediment very easily. Because this was an existing spillway, it's very shallow. So with a 24 by 24 drain on top, the maintenance worker has to get in either with a vac or with a shovel and remove that larger sediment from that larger area in a very shallow location. So it's difficult for the maintenance personnel to clear that sediment without a vac truck. Typically a vac truck is what we use to maintain it. With all the flaws of this river rock, there are two weirs here and some piping and an additional sediment removal river rock forebay, and that forebay has no sediment in it. So in some sense, this structure is still working as designed, but we definitely have issues up here